We've got EXPI. So that was one, EXPI. That was one that really pulled back a lot. And I'm watching to see if there's some kind of bottom on this daily chart. So still watching and waiting and looking for that W. It did break out on the other side. Now I might consider a trade if we get a bit of a pullback and then a bounce for that long opportunity. So I'm going to also set alerts this again. And then if we push above the highs, also add alert. So that's kind of my range and something I'm watching on EXPI. All right, so let's look at some stocks. I mean, I talk about Disney all the time. So Disney's trying to turn the corner here. You have on the weekly chart, you have a divergence building. Let me look at like a monthly. Look at this bottom coming in on Disney stock. I really want to see it down here. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I am watching Disney on a monthly. I'm going to look for this breakout here on a monthly chart to maybe get long Disney if that ever happens. Something like that. I'm going to set an alert. RSI, and we're going to put the expiration as far out as we can. It's really not far enough, but that's where I'm going to put it to see if we get any kind of, you can see with, if I go to a weekly chart, did we go below the low here? Yeah, look at this. It went right below the lows from 2020. That's why you're getting a bounce here, and below the low right here, basically to the low. There were probably a lot of stops in this area that got taken out. So now the question is, do we take off and head to the moon, or do we head lower? And right now there's no sign that this is anything more than a dead cat bounce. But if it pushes higher, then there's potential. But for now, it's just dead cat bounce. So that's one stock I've been watching. Another one, we can look at a couple tech stocks. We can look at Netflix quickly. Netflix looking like crap on a weekly chart. I mean, look at this M here. I'm gonna get rid of a bunch of this stuff. So this was my original W, by the way. Look at this pattern. I would say the W is more like that though, you know, or like this, almost like that. Look at that, and you hit the 8.77. But if you drew it just a little bit bigger, then you would have hit your 4.669, but not the 877. Interesting move with Netflix. And you can see how it M'd out on the top here, right? This is your, you can see it better on a 3-day chart. This M out pattern, and I would create a chaos kind of like that, right? That's your top out range, and then your target is down here at 200. Just falling off a cliff, not looking good. Pushing through your 200-day moving average. No real trade here. Let's look at Boeing first quickly. Yeah, so Boeing fell off a cliff, right? And it had its bounce, but on this weekly chart, it still looks like a disaster. We have an 8 that came in, but you see how it took out these lows? It hasn't been this low since December 2022. No real trade for me here, but it's something I am keeping my eye on, especially with all of the wars going on and potential for future wars. Boeing does produce a significant amount of defense things, so you know there could be a huge boost to this stock in the near future. So I'm keeping an eye on it, seeing if this daily W's out. I'm actually going to set multiple alerts on Boeing. Let's see if there's any price movement outside of this range. I will look for a trade. So that's another one I'm keeping my eye on that really fell off a cliff. Interesting one, this NFLX Energy took out the lows all the way back to 2021 basically. So this is one that I want to keep an eye on to see if it can cross the downtrend here on a weekly chart. I'm gonna put once per bar and keep an eye on this. You can see all the way just at the beginning of 2023 it was at $300, and now it's at $125. So nice potential. I'm gonna look at my alerts really quick because I did get a couple of alerts and see what's come in. We've got EXPI. So that was one, EXPI. That was one that really pulled back a lot. And I'm watching to see if there's some kind of bottom on this daily chart. So still watching and waiting and looking for that W. It did break out on the other side. Now I might consider a trade if we get a bit of a pullback and then a bounce for that long opportunity. So I'm going to also set alerts. This again, add alert there. And then if we push above the highs, also add alert. So that's kind of my range and something I'm watching on EXPI. This is kind of how I alert myself. I've got multiple 3 sections for that one. Blink, that was another one that we talked about and we looked at. Look how much this one pulled back. Absolute disaster. It had a 9 that came in on the weekly chart. Look at that. So this is what I'm kind of watching. I want to see RSI cross on the weekly, or I can really consider anything right? Until then, I can't really touch this. It's just too risky. And that's why I'm not even looking at it on like a daily chart. I want to see that. I want to see that weekly crossover to show me that there is a true trend change. We can also see here. Let me see something. Look at how much. This is literally like a shitcoin. Hilarious. You know, wow, we're way below anything that I would have originally longed. Fascinating to see. We're right back at where it was in 2020 and 2019, and then just went on this crazy rally fueled by printed money. Why else would it be rallying like this, right? Okay, so that's Blink. Nick wanted to look at PayPal. Let's look at PayPal. PayPal, one of the most evil companies. Oh, interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised by this. Have you ever tried to use PayPal? It works, but at the same time, they nickel and dime you for everything. Yeah, it doesn't look great on this weekly chart, and it looks like it just broke down from this consolidation zone. And I don't see why it can't go lower to like $43. Yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't see why that can't happen. I don't see anything positive here. Absolutely nothing. It's just in this downtrend. Although it is almost like a downward wedge pattern. So if that's the case, it's bullish actually, but I don't like how it looks on these higher time frames. This is terrible on a weekly chart. This momentum, absolute disaster. I wouldn't feel comfortable with this. I don't see anything but open air here. Could easily fall right down to $43, $41. This area, that I would feel much more comfortable going long down here at the lows from 2016 than I do going long here at $57. I would be careful with PayPal. I don't see anything to make me bullish yet.